Let's meet an icon of reggae music. I'm Penny Lane, and In the Driver's Seat starts now. Welcome to In the Driver's Seat, where we explore the lives of extraordinary individuals who drive their industries forward. My next guest is a two-time Grammy-winning producer, a musician, a radio icon, and has worked with the greats from Bob Marley and Pete Tosh to No Doubt and Willie Nelson. From the hills of Jamaica to the global stage, he's championed reggae soul and crafted timeless hits and made his mark on music history. Welcome to the show, Wayne Jobson. Hello, Wayne.
Thanks for having me, man. It's so great, and I'm especially happy that it's Australia. Because it's one of my favorite places. I've been there twice before, and it's a magical, magical wonderland.
It's a great place, isn't it? I'm just genuinely so thrilled that you took the time out of your day to talk to myself and the viewers. You blow me away with the career that you've had, Wayne, and I don't want to waste a minute, so let's dive straight in. Now, you were born in Jamaica in the 50s. You don't look old enough, by the way, but what was growing up in Jamaica during that time like for you?
It was just before Jamaica got independence, and it was just a magical musical time, you know, like ska music was just starting, and Bob Marley and them was just coming up with the ska music and the Scatolites, and the first thing they did, the songs they had Put It On and all the early Marley stuff. So the music was just, it was a very beautiful place. I grew up in a place called St. Anne, which is really close to Bob Marley. It's about 9 miles from Bob Marley's place. Also close to Ocho Rios, so it was close to the ocean and all that. But just a very spiritual, magical place. And an actual Bob's actual birthplace called 9 Mile, where he's laid to rest. It's just one of the most spiritual places in the world. If you ever get a chance and you go to Jamaica, make sure you go up there. It's kind of like the biggest tourist attraction in Jamaica because everybody wants to go up there and just get a little feel of Bob, you know, and just find where he came from and the magic and, you know, where everything came from. And there's a little joke, if you ever happen to go up there, you know, and Bob his grave is there, and you're allowed to go up and touch the grave just to get some, you know, inspiration from him. But the guy tells you only men are allowed to touch the grave, because if a woman touches the grave, they immediately get pregnant. You know? It was such a ladies' man.
Well, he did make beautiful babies, didn't he? He's got some gorgeous kids. Very talented as well. Now, Jamaica's known for its rich, rich musical culture. But when did you know music was meant for you, and when did it start calling your name?
Well, as a kid, I mean, of course, I guess most people of my generation was first influenced by seeing the Beatles and Ed Sullivan, you know?
Really?
And then that just kind of sparked everything, watching it on TV in Jamaica. And then, so first getting into the Beatles, and then Bob Marley and the Wailers, which was just in the very beginning there. That was 62, 63. And then just following from that. And I was so lucky because my cousin started Island Records, which is the greatest record company of all time. And his musical partner was a guy called Chris. He's the greatest record man of all time. So, you know, they went on to do Cat Stevens and Steve Winwood and Grace Jones and, of course, Bob Marley, and then U2 and Bono, you know. So that record company produced the greatest music in the world. And even now, they have two of the biggest stars in the world, which is Sabrina Carpenter and that girl Rowan, who is also up for all of the Grammys, you know.
Amazing. And you've won 2 Grammys yourself, haven't you, with No Doubt? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I was so blessed. So I was on the radio in Los Angeles for many years. It was the #1 station in America. It was called K-Rock, world famous K-Rock. And I was a DJ on there. And we were also the biggest modern rock station in the world. So we're this station that kind of broke Nirvana and Pearl Jam and the Chili Peppers and that kind of stuff. And so I was the first one on the radio to play No Doubt and play Sublime, which ended up to being 2 huge bands. And so No Doubt said to me, help us produce the next album. So I took them to Jamaica and we recorded the album down here. It just ended up total magic, you know. It was like just working with them because Gwen Stefani is such a great songwriter and the band was so tight. And then I brought in Sly and Robbie, worked like musical partners over the past many years, with the production and all that. And we just put together a really classic album, but nobody knew it was going to be that big, you know. We ended up selling like 4 or 5 million. And winning the 2 Grammys. And in the beginning, the Jamaica part of it was just supposed to be fun, you know, because they had some really big producers on the album, like Prince, the legend, and Cooper, and Rick Ocasek from the Cars. So they had all the big producers. And they said, well, the big producers are going to give us hits. And these guys are just going to give us some of the fun Jamaican songs. You know? Well, no. We gave them 2 #1 songs and the 2 Grammys underneath it all, and hey.
Yeah, that's absolutely amazing. And you had a band, Native. That was one of the first, or it was the first reggae band to be signed by Clive Davis, the musical icon who's brought, did he bring Diane Warwick, Whitney Houston, Billy Joel, so many big names. How did that happen, and what went down in that moment when you were signed by Clive Davis?
Yeah, man, that was just Jah Works. We were just so blessed. And what had happened was I was in Jamaica and I met Lee Scratch Perry, the great producer.
Yes.
And Lee Scratch, he had just finished doing, the week before he recorded me, he was doing Paul McCartney, and then he did Robert Palmer, which is the guy who did Addicted to Love.
Yes.
And of course he did all this stuff. And I just met him, and I was just a little kid with a guitar, and I thought, I said to him, I want to songs, and I thought he was going to, you and everybody else in the world, get out. But he just liked me, and he said, you're an Arawak Indian. I can tell you're an original Indian, so I want to work with you. So we went in and recorded some demos with him. Yeah. And I took it to England, and Johnny Rotten from the Sex Pistols heard it, and he said, this is going to be the next big thing. So all the record companies called me. When Clive Davis and Arista called me, then I went with them, because they had the kind of best vibe going, you know?
Yeah. How did you feel in that moment? Did it change your life?
Yeah, it was real magical, because before this you'd just been in like high school bands and little local bands and doing stuff and all that, but you never think of getting a major record label like that, you know, to sign you, and then get all the pressure behind you to help break it, and then have proper budgets to go and record the proper in the proper studios and get the best musicians and producers and do the whole thing properly. So it all kind of came back. So much. Yeah, Lee Perry taking a chance on me, and then Clive Davis and Arista also taking a chance on me.
Yeah, they must have seen something in you. Thank God they did. Now, I read that you went to the UK to study. I'm from the UK, of all the and I didn't even finish school. So when I read that you studied in the UK, I was intrigued. Why did you pick the UK to study?
Well, because I actually studied law, so I did like a master's in entertainment law, and Jamaica has the same legal system as England, you know, because Jamaica used to be a British colony. So to study it, I could have done it in Jamaica, or I could have done it in England. But I did the first part in the Caribbean, in Barbados, and then I went to do the masters in England, specifically because I knew the music was happening at the time. Yeah. Bob Marley was actually over at that time in exile, so I was able to go and visit Bob when he was over there, and the Wailers, and it was just I saw it as an opportunity for me to be able to get into the British market and be able to do music on and off when I was over there. But I was so blessed to meet Johnny Rotten, and he helped me get the record deal and everything with Arista. So it was just like very blessed. You know?
Yeah. Did you enjoy your time in England? Could you handle the weather?
Oh, that's the only bad thing. I mean, but it's such a like I was there last year, and I was there this year, last year. I try to go there every few years. I try and go, and it's just such an amazing place, and the music is just so magic, you know.
Yeah, the music is good in the UK. I'll tell my mum next time you're over there, she can put the kettle on and make you a cup of tea.
Definitely, man. And I love Australia too. Like I was saying, I've been there twice. Been to Australia twice. I've been to Noosa Heads. I really love Noosa Heads. I love Mornington Peninsula, down by Melbourne.
Yeah, that's where that's where you're calling into, Melbourne, actually. Now, the Reggae Blitz, that must have been an amazing thing to do. Is there any standout moments or any stories that you can share from that time with us?
Yeah, it was what the internet had just opened up then, and internet music was just starting. So a company came to me and said, let's get the biggest reggae stars in the world and record some songs with them to use for soundtrack material. So it was really for soundtracks and the internet. And so I brought in Gregory Isaacs, the cool ruler, who was absolute, you know, one of the geniuses of reggae music, Gregory.
Genius.
And we did a track with him, and I was something I always, that surprised me with Gregory is that with all the great songs that he wrote, he used to spend every day reading Mills and Boon, which is a little English schoolgirl book, love story books. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you say, why is he reading some English schoolgirl books? And it's because like the lyrics from there, the little girls could relate to it. You understand? So you always have to know your market and then write your songs for that market. You know what I mean? So that's why Gregory was so great. Maxi Priest on it, but the Mighty Diamonds, so many great artists were on that album there. Black Uhuru, you know, Toots and the Maytals, and of course my one was Toots, and I worked with Toots right through the years, and worked on the last album that he ever did, and he won the Grammy. And unfortunately, he died during COVID. But Toots was a genius of reggae music. He invented reggae, and so it was just this.
Yeah, one of the best. Now, you've worked with so many people, obviously, but has there been a real partner in crime for you, or a mentor, or a standout light for you that's helped you during your career?
I'd say, well, the people of all the people that I've worked with, I mean, many great, like Jimmy Buffett and Gwen Stefani and all that. But the three that really, kind of touched me the most is Keith Richards. I did the Wingless Angels album with him, which you can find it online, and also the Wingless Angels album. And also I did Willie Nelson's reggae album, which is called Countryman. And then I did, and then of course just hanging out and going to the studio and all that with Bob Marley. So those three guys, Willie Nelson, Keith Richards, I would say if you and I are like 50% spirit and 50% dust, they're not like us. Those three guys are like 80% spirit and 20% dust. They're like ethereal figures on another planet. They're just so brilliant and so spiritual that that's why they touch the world. Like Bob Marley is probably the biggest star in the world, as well as Rolling Stones, the biggest band in the world, and also Willie Nelson, maybe one of the biggest country artists of all time. So yeah,
you've got that aura too, Wayne. You really do. I can't believe we're out of time. I could speak to you all day long. You're one of my heroes, and they're telling me in my ear we're almost out of time. I just wanted to ask you about what's next on the cards for you and Cool Runnings. I know that's in the pipeline. Can you tell us a little bit about what's going on in the future for you?
Definitely. So the big film the biggest Jamaican film of all time was Cool Runnings. I had a song in it. I worked on it in the song. And now for this new one, I'm actually a producer on it because I got together the rights it was a Jamaican female team. So the first Cool Runnings was the male bobsled team. This is a Jamaica female bobsled team. And they went to the Olympics and did really. So I got the rights from them, and then we put it together so that you can watch for that coming out soon. And I'm doing the music for that as well. So, and also working with Boy George and Culture Club in the studio now on their new album.
Oh,
so we're
amazing.
In the Culture Club reggae, and we have some great guests on it, like Sia, Sia who did Chandelier, and just a million views.
She's from Australia.
Boy George. Oh, right, yes, that's another great Australian girl, man.
Yeah, amazing. Well, we're out of time, but thank you so much for coming on the show. Keep doing what you're doing. Happy birthday for in 3 weeks. And beautiful. I wish you all the luck in the world in the future. Thank you so much, Native Wayne.
Maximum respect. See you soon.
In the Driver's Seat is brought to you by the Perfect Cosmetics Company. This is Ticker, and we'll be right back.
You're watching Ticker. We'll have more in just a few minutes.